Okay, now we're going to see how to use a service with a different component. And this slide is showing you the usage of a resource manager. And especially if there are more than one services running to support multiple applications in the single instance. You can actually use resource manager if resources must be allocated differently based on priority. And this example said AP service need to get 75% of a resource, and batch needs to get 25% of a resource. And in order to implement it, you can use consumer group mapping, and you can associate consumer group, which is resource manager object, and with a service. So when you allocate 20% of a resource to batch group, for example, then service that is associated will get 20%. So based on resource allocation to consumer group and associated service will get same amount of a resource. And you can also use a service with a scheduler. So if you want to schedule a job in the location where service is running, you can actually associate service with a scheduler job. So what you have to do is you will have to create job class, the group of jobs, and then you associate this job class with service name. So if a service is running out of one of the instances and your scheduler jobs that belong to this job class will be running in the same service, same location where service is running. And also instance stickiness. You may have a service running across multiple instances. If that is the case, your scheduler job can be running out of one of the locations based on load balancing feature. So that is instance stickiness. And also, it's possible to use a service to support distributed transactions. And you will have to create a singleton service, or you will have to define one preferred instance to support distributed transaction in the RAG environment. So implementation is here. You add a service named xa01.example.com, and you only define single preferred instance location. And for policy managed database, and your cardinality must be singleton. And then you enable DTP true to support distributed transaction. And service threshold and alert. By default, Oracle collects service level metrics. And one is service elapsed time metrics. And the other one is service CPU time metrics. Since these metrics are collected by default, and we can leverage these statistics to set threshold and to use it for proactive monitoring. So if you have any service level agreement at the service level, and you can set threshold for warning and critical, so that way, if Oracle detect service elapsed time, they exceed your threshold level, then you can receive alert and warning messages. Same thing for service CPU time. And if you want to implement exactly same thing in the command line interface, then use a DBMS server alert that's set threshold. And the other one is service aggregation and tracing. So we are able to monitor service level activities. So if one or more services are detected as a problem service, and then you can enable SQL trace at the service level. So we collect all SQL statements from the service, and then we can actually analyze it to see what the problem is. To enable service level aggregation and tracing, and you can use a top service tabbed page, so that way you can see active services through Enterprise Manager. And if there is any problem service found, then choose service and then enable SQL Trace. That's what you can do. In the command line interface, use a DBMS monitor, so that way you can enable and disable service level aggregation. And also possibly you can aggregate in the different level, module level and action level, and so on. So this is an example of enabling SQL Trace at the action level by module, by service. And also, same thing, by module, by service. So you can actually enable SQL Trace at the action level, or module level, or at the service level. And there are several views available, so you can actually review these views. Okay, here we have one quiz. Which of the following statement regarding Oracle services is not correct? You can group work by type under services. Users who share a service should have the same service level requirement. Makes sense? You use DBMS service to manage services, not SRV-CTL. No, in RAG environment, in the clustered environment, we should use SRV-CTL or Enterprise Manager. Okay, so C is not correct statement. And it's the following statement regarding performance threshold, true or false. The two performance threshold that can be explicitly set for each service are service elapsed time and service CPU time. Yes, these are service level metrics by service metrics that are collected by default. So the answer is true. So in this lesson, we learned the service and what are the services, what is a service, and how we use a service in RAG environment, what are the features of a service, how we can integrate service with other components, and how we can monitor, how we can enable service level aggregation and tracing. And this is for lesson 9.